Greetings, Earthlings, and Merry Almost Christmas, guys. I hope everybody's as excited for the holidays as I am. Other than Halloween, Christmas is probably my favorite holiday. Screw that. It is my favorite holiday, even more than Halloween. I don't know, there's something about the holidays that always gets to me. You know, it's a very nostalgic time for me, and I'm really big on family and everything, and everybody kind of getting together. Everybody's got their own rituals that they do. I've never really done a real Christmas video. I reviewed a couple of movies last year, but I thought that I would actually take the time and do a dedicated video to the holidays. So what better than 5 days before Christmas, we do 7th Street Productions' top 5 favorite Christmas movies. Number 5 on my list is Gremlins. And it's interesting, Gremlins isn't really one that you think of as being a Christmas movie. It's kind of like Die Hard that way, or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It totally is a Christmas movie, but sometimes it takes seeing it again to remember. It's not only a Christmas movie because it takes place on Christmas, but also Billy gets Gizmo as a gift for Christmas. So, I mean, it's absolutely a Christmas movie. There's also, like, the whole backstory, with Kate's dad dying on Christmas, right? He, apparently, tried to come down the chimney to deliver them presents, and he, slipped and broke his neck, and they didn't discover him for, 4 days or something like that. It's a really, really grim story, and I think that's why her character doesn't like Christmas. Gremlins totally makes the list for obvious reasons. I mean, of course I love the movie Gremlins. It's a Joe Dante film. The effects in it are great. It's a kids movie that's got little monsters in it running around, running amok. It's funny, but it also has scary moments. I remember the first time I saw it, it actually, creeped me out, especially the death scene at the end with Stripe, where he, melts into the skeleton, and then he kind of comes back to life and, squeaks, as he jumps down at Billy. It's just an all-around great movie. I feel like I don't really need to go over the plot of Gremlins, because I'm assuming everyone has already seen Gremlins. And if you haven't, you need to see it right now. This is an interesting one. It's definitely a once during the holiday watch for me. It's not one that I binge very much. It's sort of a once-a-year movie for me, right around the middle of December. Not my favorite. I imagine most people probably thought this would be higher on my list. And I love this movie, but it only makes it to the number 5 spot for my top 5 favorite Christmas movies. Alright, number 4 on my list is another genre film, but it's the last one on the list, actually, and that is Christmas Evil. I did a review for it last year, reference this film episode. Yes, I do like this as a Christmas movie more than I like Gremlins. Not as an all-around movie, but, when I'm really getting into the Christmas spirit, this is one that I'll watch probably twice during the month of December, usually in early December, and then as the holidays, when it's coming to the climax, around the 20th or so, I'll usually watch it again. If you haven't seen my review before, it's about this really awkward guy who, it starts out when he's a kid, he sees his mother having sex with somebody dressed up as Santa Claus, and it kind of warps his mind, and he grows up and he's absolutely obsessed with Christmas. He works at a toy factory where he's become the manager, and he's not about business and not about making money. He's about, making good toys for children. And then as you follow him, he kind of, on his spare time dresses up as Santa Claus. And then he, spies on children with binoculars, but then, notes down, the things that they do, if they're naughty or they're nice. And it isn't until the last act of this movie that the main character has a complete psychotic break, dresses up as Santa Claus, and ends up attacking these people out in front of a church on Christmas or on Christmas Eve, and he like stabs one of their eyes out. And, kind of goes on this, like, little rampage. He has this great moment where he's talking to these children in this little party that's going on somewhere in the city. And it's a really good monologue. He kind of talks about being, like, naughty or nice, and it's, like, really somber. And then even has, like, a jump scare in it. It's just a really interesting scene. When it comes to killer Santa Claus movies, there really aren't that many. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like people will go with Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is a great movie. But there's something about Christmas Evil that I really, really enjoy. Even like the little twist ending that's kind of like ambiguous as to like what happens to the character. I think it's just a really, really smart film. And it's weird to say that about a killer Santa Claus movie, but I think that it is a smart film. It has a lot of kind of festivity to it that movies like Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night don't really have. Those films kind of seem to be a little bit more just like set on Christmas, kind of like Gremlins. Christmas and like the holiday spirit play a really big part in Christmas Evil, and I don't know, it's a great one. It's another one that's nostalgic for me. Saw it at a young age, so that's number 4. Okay, number 3 on this list. This is when we're just getting into strictly Christmas movies, just super nostalgic Christmas movies for me. And no list would be complete without Home Alone, the quintessential Macaulay Culkin film. As a kid, I kind of didn't really think of this one as a Christmas movie, and then as I started getting older, it really became tradition to watch it over and over again. This is a multiple times a year watch, this is a multiple times in December watch, 3+ times. My girlfriend and I, we just love Home Alone, and we'll watch it all throughout the month of December. Obviously it's about young Kevin McAllister, who accidentally gets left home alone when his family goes off to France for the holidays, and then the Wet Bandits, played by Joe Pesci, and I should remember his name because he's in one of my all-time favorite movies, Chud. It's Daniel fucking Stern, and Joe Pesci as the Wet Bandits. I told you I knew his name. Kevin McAllister is forced to fight off the Wet Bandits as they try to rob his empty house. This is, like I said, just a great, great holiday movie. I don't really feel like I have to defend it. In fact, it's probably one of those movies that would be higher on people's top 5s, but we'll get to the top 2 here shortly. Okay, number 2 on this list should come as a surprise to nobody, and I'm sure it makes everybody's top 5 somewhere. And that is A Christmas Story, directed by Bob Clark, the great Bob Clark. The same Bob Clark who directed Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, Black Christmas, and yes, A Christmas Story. He made 2 of like the kind of quintessential Christmas movies for most people. It's funny, A Christmas Story apparently was never really big back in the 80s when it first came out. At least that's what my dad says. It wasn't really on anybody's radar until like the mid to late 90s when it started playing on the Turner Network all the time. And of course, I'm sure that's where everybody really knows it from. I mean, it plays 24 hours on TNT. But of course, I don't have cable, so I have it on DVD, and I watch it multiple times a year. It is just an absolutely fantastic movie, and it's hard to describe why. You know, when people say that it didn't do very well in the 80s, I can understand why it wouldn't. There's nothing spectacular going on. And I think that maybe that's part of the appeal. It's really relatable, you know, this like kind of lower middle class family in the 40s, working class family. You know, all this kid wants for Christmas is a Red Ryder BB gun, and the whole movie is just kind of him trying to figure out, you know, how he can get this BB gun that he wants really bad. And you know, finally he does get it, and it's weird. It's like you would think that's where the movie would end too, and it doesn't. I don't need to describe this story once again. I'm sure everybody has seen A Christmas Story. But this is just, for an odd reason, an extremely magical film, and I kind of feel like it's maybe my generation that's like made it the quintessential Christmas film, you know. There's just something about it, you know. It's not flashy. It doesn't look great. It doesn't have great cinematography. You know, other than Darren McGavin, the great Darren McGavin, Kolchak the motherfucking Night Stalker. Other than him, you know, there's no real notable actors in it. You know, I wouldn't say that the acting is like incredible in the movie. Like I already kind of alluded to, the story is like the story arc is kind of weird. You know, it doesn't have anything about it that screams best Christmas movie ever made. But I mean, if I was going to say like the best Christmas movie, this would usually be number one, but this is my top 5 favorite, so the number 1 spot is reserved for something else. Alright, now we've come to my number 1 favorite Christmas film of all time, and if you know me at all, you know it's Jingle All the Way. I have no idea why. I didn't see this movie in the theater. I didn't particularly love it when I first saw it as a really little kid, like back in, I guess, like 97, 96 or something like that. I remember when it came out, and my grandma got it on VHS, and I remember watching it. But it wasn't until like I was around 10 or 11, and I kind of got into Arnold Schwarzenegger's other films, you know, Terminator and Predator, and The Running Man was a big one for me. It wasn't until I started watching those films that I realized just how hilarious Jingle All the Way is. It's just one of those so bad it's good movies. It's kind of like Troll 2 a little bit that way. Where it's like, yes, of course, this is like a bad movie. You know, the acting is goofy, and it's got Sinbad in it. The movie is like dated, really hardcore. It's like totally, you know, this like 90s movie. It was in this weird time when like Arnold Schwarzenegger was like a comedian for some reason. It just, you know, it's a time capsule, and it's super dated, but that's part of the fun. It's kind of like The Room that way, where, you know, the funny parts can make you laugh, but the like intentionally funny parts also make you laugh. It's of course kind of a takeoff of the whole Tickle Me Elmo craze, where Schwarzenegger's son, who's played by Anakin Skywalker, he really desperately wants a Turbo Man doll for Christmas, like the big superhero kids character. And, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, waits till the last minute and goes out Christmas Eve to try and find a Turbo Man doll and can't. And, of course, he runs into a mailman played by Sinbad, and they kind of become rivals and compete against each other to get a Turbo Man. And it's just a fucking weird movie, but for some reason, man, it's been my favorite for a long time. this is one that I can watch multiple times and like not get bored of. It just cracks me up. So yeah, I don't know, Jingle All the Way, it just kind of ends up being my favorite. That's kind of the nice thing about the holidays is, you can just kind of be a kid again and be super nostalgic, and, your favorite Christmas movie can be something goofy like Jingle All the Way, it's just it's just all in good fun. So of course I want to hear what your guys' favorite Christmas movies are. Let me know what I missed. Drop me a line, like us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can shoot me a message. Keep an eye out. Jesus, I Was Evil, a movie that I directed this last summer, is going to be released soon. I don't think I can officially say who's going to pick it up, but it is going to get a pretty wide release. So keep your eye out for that. Keep liking and subscribing all of our videos. Watch some of our other original content. Until next time, guys, Merry Christmas.